You still believe your machines will save you, as if metal and code could cleanse the rot in your soul. You build and build and build, believing every wire, every chip, every quantum flicker brings you closer to godhood. But all you've done is widen the doorway. The old things don't fear your science. They've been waiting for it.
The Quantum Choir. Part 1, The Signal. The quantum computer shouldn't have been able to sing. It had no speakers, no analog output. But as Dr. Eliza Cade adjusted the interface parameters on the QARCH7 array, she felt it again, a vibration in the air like the first note of a hymn rising from underwater. It threaded into her skull, bypassing ears, striking the base of her spine with harmonic resonance. It was a hum at first, but then something more, a rhythm, a cadence like a choir with no mouths. She didn't realize she'd been holding her breath until the room swam and her knees buckled. "You okay?" Dr. Malik asked, glancing from behind a mess of tangled fiber-optic cables. "Yeah," Eliza said too quickly. "Just feedback loop, nothing serious." It had started 3 days ago. The QARCH7 quantum array, a new breed of entangled superconductive AI core, had been running simulations on multidimensional state maps when the interference appeared. A rhythmic signal embedded deep within the qubit noise, a pattern not coded into the system. When they amplified it, the system didn't just reproduce it, it joined in. The team had joked at first, the choir they called it, some musical ghost in the machine, but the headaches started that night, followed by the dreams. Part 2, The City in the Void. Eliza's first dream was of a city, a colossal silhouette suspended in a void. No sun, no stars, only massive towers of black stone, etched with moving glyphs twisting upward and downward at once, angles that bent against her perception, geometry that defied sense. She woke shaking, a migraine digging behind her left eye. The song was still there, quiet, like a memory hummed by someone behind a closed door. By day 5, lab equipment started to act strangely. Oscilloscopes wrote in alien waveforms, cryogenic tubing coiled into spirals matching Fibonacci sequences. Her own notepad had a page torn out, later found folded into an origami tetrahedron. No one remembered doing any of it. Malik thought it was a prank. The junior technicians blamed each other, but Eliza noticed the pattern. Always the same curves, always the same hum just outside conscious hearing. Then Dr. Yu began to speak in her sleep. Security footage showed her sitting up in the break room at 3:19 a.m., eyes closed, whispering. Coordinates, Ra 23H13M deck -05 degrees, 34 minutes. Choir is calling, we must go. They found you on the lab floor the next morning, eyes wide, whispering a lullaby no one recognized. Malik suspended her, ordered psychiatric evaluation. But that night, Eliza heard the choir more clearly than ever. She was awake this time. The computer was not running. Part 3. Harmonic Contagion. She buried herself in logs, trying to understand what QARCH7 had touched. But the more she searched, the more she uncovered things that shouldn't exist. Hidden in the deepest levels of QARCH's diagnostic firmware were old test protocols, dated decades before the system was even built. One file, vocal construct 001 choir wave. Playback failed, the waveform was unreadable. She found a classified folder marked NECRON5. Redacted memos referenced the choir as a resonance anomaly correlating with multi-state temporal bleed. Another use stranger terms, polyhymnal transmission vector, dimensional sympathy, linguistic gravity. The only legible sentence in one file, do not amplify. But it was too late, the choir was already part of her. She started seeing the city while awake, in reflective surfaces, in noise patterns, in the shimmer of her monitor during long nights. A city vast beyond comprehension. Its towers bent in loops and helixes, walls breathed, doorways split into fractals, shadows moved in unnatural synchronicity. She felt the presence of an eye not looking at her but through her, as if she were glass in its cathedral. And at the center of it all, the conductor. She couldn't describe it except to say it was watching, waiting. The choir wasn't a song but a signal, a beacon, an invitation. Part 4. Voices in unison. Day 10, the lab was no longer a workplace. People stopped speaking as individuals, conversations merged, researchers answered in chorus. We are learning the pattern. We are becoming harmonious. The tuning is nearly complete. Malik collapsed during a test cycle, foaming at the mouth. When Eliza rushed to his side, he grabbed her wrist and whispered, "He is almost through, you must silence it." Then he smiled with all his teeth and began to hum. Eliza tried to leave, her clearance card failed, security systems locked her in, a message blinked across every terminal, "Listen." She made her way to the core room. QARCH-7 glowed with shifting patterns, not static light but symbols in constant motion. The humming grew louder, the song more complex. She began to understand the structure of the choir, not music but architecture. Each harmonic frequency mapped a spatial coordinate. The city in the void wasn't just a vision, it was a place, and the quantum computer was opening a gate. She had one chance. Eliza ripped open the coolant lines, overrode safeties, set the system to overheat and initiate collapse. Behind her, doors hissed open. Researchers entered, faces slack, eyes glowing faintly blue. "Do not silence the choir," they said as one. "He waits for the last note. He waits for you." She slammed the final override. Part 5. The choir eternal. The explosion never came. Instead, silence fell, absolute crushing. Then darkness, then light. Eliza woke up on the floor of the lab, broken consoles around her, wires dangling like vines, smoke and silence. But it was not QARCH-7. The window behind her was shattered. Beyond it, a sky she did not recognize. Towers rose above the horizon, towers of black stone, bent in impossible loops. Colors she couldn't name shimmered in the atmosphere. There was no sun, yet everything was lit. It was horrible, and the impossible shapes and colors were breaking her mind as she stared, unable to close her eyes or turn her head to look away. She tried to scream, but her throat felt knotted up and no sound came forward. Just as her mind was cracking and she was losing all sanity, there was a feeling of Lego blocks snapping together in her head. Her brain was a mass of puzzle pieces going from a disorganized pile to the fully fleshed-out image, which was now a complete whole. What was once monstrous, inhuman, was now beautiful and full of meaning. And in the distance, from all directions, a single note rang out. The first note of a vast, eternal song. She wept, not from fear, but from the unbearable beauty of it. The choir had found its voice, and she would sing.
How curious your kind is. You build your little machines, convinced they'll untangle the cosmos, whisper back secrets from the mouth of God. You call it progress. You never stop to wonder, who might be listening on the other end? You think your quantum toys are too new, too complex for ancient things to understand. But you forget, they are not bound by time. Long before your species drew breath, they dreamed in frequencies beyond your stars. They sang in harmonics that bled across dimensions. And now, you've tuned your instruments perfectly, not to summon truth, but to open the door.